Well, hello beautiful people, it's Trina. Welcome back to my channel. So you guys, a while back on this channel, I reviewed a Longchamp Pliage Cuir Crossbody bag, and I'll link that up here. I loved that bag. I did end up selling it though, not because the bag wasn't useful, but because the color just didn't work for me. I bought it primarily for travel, and just a bright red just ended up being too impractical for me. So the plan was to sell it and eventually buy a black one that would go with everything. You know, red is a great color, and I do have a beautiful red bag that I use quite a lot. But when you're traveling, you tend to be more minimalist, and then I would have to have my whole wardrobe centered around a certain shade of red, not only red, and it just proved too impractical, so it wasn't working for me. But by the time I'd already sold the red bag, I came to discover that it was difficult to come across a black crossbody pliage cuir bag, because as I later found out, basically they discontinued that line and they came out with something called the Xtra. And it's basically the same bag as the Longchamp cuir, but it doesn't have as much stitching. It's in a different leather, in a cowhide, as opposed to a métis leather, and the zipper is in the front. And I thought those were the only differences, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, I found that bag on Moreira for a good price, and I should have hesitated, but I ended up getting it. So it came like this, first red flag. Basically, as soon as I pulled this out, I realized, oh no, I've been duped. This is a fake. And I'm gonna go over why I think it's a fake with you, and then I'm gonna compare it to a real authentic Longchamp Pliage Cuir. I've never bought a Longchamp bag new, so I don't know how they're packaged, but I do believe they have a drawstring bag, and I don't think there's any ink running in the printing of the name. All right, so first feeling, you pick this up and it just feels like plastic. I smelled it. Oh my God, it smells so plasticky. Okay, the logo printing, everything is done not bad, but it just looks a little plasticky. There's an imprint on the back. I don't think that's a big deal. Here's another telltale sign. Usually there's a backup of some leather behind this, what do you call this, button? And it's usually not in circles. It radiates lines, so that is different. This looks pretty good to me, actually. I thought that the G was kind of funny, but it doesn't look terrible. So this, you know, could be very close to the real thing. The stitching overall is not too bad, but there is a problem on the top. I don't know if you can see that. Let's close up here. It just looks a bit unprofessional here. And here you go. The printing here, I thought there was an accent problem, but actually it's okay. But again, the stamping, because this is synthetic, doesn't look quite right. So far, so bad. Now inside, it's a very cheap feeling material. It does have the Longchamp lining. It looks like Longchamp. Again, you see some glue here that just doesn't look good. This strap is, first of all, extremely short. The bag just goes below my boob, and that is not one of the reasons I love this bag so much, or this model, is because the strap is long. Now this, I realized, I looked on the website and it did say the strap drop was 66 centimeters. I measured this and it is. So this bag might have a shorter strap, and that sucks for tall girls, my friends. I did write to the company and I sent them a question about the strap length. In addition, I also sent them a question about this tag, because apparently newer bags are made in China. This one says made in France, and it seems to be very close to the side here. That doesn't look very professional. Interestingly, this looks very synthetic here, but I think this little piece here might be cowhide because the back feels pretty authentic. Coated in plastic. Yeah. This is just a hole, by the way. There's nothing really in here. There's a little side pocket. Nothing terribly bad. This doesn't look bad. I think other Longchamp bags have the same type of writing and button here, so that's okay. This one is not, though. The zipper itself works fine. Doesn't seem to be problematic. And it looks nice, I think. However, it looks a lot smaller than the previous model I had. And I looked on the website, took the measurements, and the measurements are actually accurate. So this particular Xtra bag would appear to be a little bit smaller than the other one, which is a problem because I do find this bag small, would like it to fit more. Another reason, I mentioned I sold it, the other one, because of the color, but in fact, the size is a little small, but it causes me to, be minimalistic when I'm traveling, so that's okay. Okay, so the strap itself, it's very plasticky. That's basically all I can say about it. For a plastic strap, it doesn't look terrible, but there's no way this is leather, guys. Absolutely no way. Is it a fake? Are my instincts on? Another red flag for me for this bag was that the new model, the Xtra, has doubled in price from the Pliage Cuir line. I'm not surprised because those bags were affordable and great value for money to begin with. And so I guess it was due for Longchamp to raise the prices. And of course, we're living in that inflationary age. But that should have been another red flag for me when I was buying the bag because it was a good deal. And the reality is that there's no way it could, an authentic bag would be sold in almost new condition, or new condition in this case, if it were real. What I did this particular time, though, I was so infuriated, not so much with myself this time, but more with the seller. So for me personally, when you're buying secondhand, if someone is selling a counterfeit bag, I don't have that much of a problem with that. I've discussed this in other videos, I'm sure. The bigger problem for me is the lack of transparency on the part of the seller. The seller gave no indication, it's all in Japanese, by the way, but anyway, I speak enough Japanese to figure this stuff out. But there was no indication that this was a fake bag. It looked, the description of the bag was like, oh, it's authentic. So I wrote back as soon as I got it, as soon as it arrived, and I wrote this a little bit angry note to her, and I'll read it to you now. I just received my Longchamp bag from you, and I must express my extreme disappointment. This item is not authentic. It is, in fact, strikingly far from authentic. Here are my issues. And then I just went to outline the issues that I've already been over with you. And by the way, this is in Japanese. I wrote it in English and translated it after. And in the end, I wrote, as I hope you can imagine, I'm very angry right now. Mercari used to be a safe place to shop, but this kind of thing seems to be increasing. And this is another rant I have, is that the Mercari platform indeed used to be a safer place to shop, but recently, well, fairly recently, now I've bought like a fake bag. This is my second fake bag. And I've also recently bought a fake bottle of Amouage perfume, which I'll get to later on the channel. I think this kind of thing happens once a platform starts getting momentum and getting bigger. It's hard for the owners to police. There's just too much nasty stuff going on, I guess. As consumers, we have to report these things and, play a part in getting rid of the bad actors, I think. So I decided, you know what, this time I'm gonna try and do my part. So I basically refused to pay. And I said, look, this is fake, I'm not paying. And then I said, what should I do? What would you do if you were me? Should I report you? Should I return the bag but demand compensation for emotional damages? Should I keep the bag without paying you, give it to my niece and move on? What would you suggest if you were the consumer in our situation? One thing is certain, I am sorry, but I will not be paying for this bag. So what happened is I waited. 10 minutes later, the seller gave me a message with a cancel button, which basically means she's not demanding that I send the bag back. She's just canceling. I don't have to pay. So great. I think that sounds like an acknowledgement of the situation to me. So yeah, I got a fake bag, I thought. But instead of, you have 24 hours to press the cancel button. So I decided to wait a few more minutes. And sure enough, the seller posted some comments and said, this is not a fake, blah, blah, blah. So I thought, okay, maybe I'm wrong. So I did some research on Longchamp, tried to find as many photos as I could, and I started to doubt my gut instincts on this, after I showed it with you. So those are my gut instincts. So I just basically said, you know what, I'm sorry, this is fake, but I'll give you this. I'm gonna cancel, and I'll do my more research, and if I do find out that I'm wrong, I know your ID, and I will pay you. And that's a promise I plan to keep. If I find out that this bag is authentic, I will pay this person and apologize profusely. And I also said to them, look, you know, it's possible that you think it's genuinely authentic and it turns out it's not. Then you've been duped, and I'm very sorry if that's the case. So there you go. I pressed the cancel button. It's over. I have this fake bag, and I'm probably going to end up giving it to my niece after I confirm that without a doubt it is fake. And I'm pretty sure. But I'm going to see if I can find an authentic version of this bag in store, because there are a couple of stores that do sell Longchamp, and just go in store and see if I can find a real version and compare. The next thing I did was I went back to Mercari and I thought, you know what, it'd be really good to compare this to a Pliage Cuir. And so I hunted for a project bag, and I found one. So basically for 2,000 yen, I mean it's less than $20, I picked up this really tatty, very old Le Pliage Cuir. This is really in poor condition. It's ratty. And I thought, hey, I can compare this bag to the black one, see how it's changed, and I'll do that in a minute. And also, this will be a nice paint job, refurbishing job, and perhaps I'll dye it black or burgundy. You guys can let me know what I should do in the comments below. Those are the two colors I have. Black might be better if I give away the other black bag. And also, I'd be able to use these strings on the other bag if I wanted to, but I'm not sure if the black would work on this brown color. Anyway, let's compare the two, shall we? So right away, let's have a look at this. You can see the strap. Okay, yeah, there's a big difference. This means it goes to my waist. This means it goes to my hips, sort of thing. So I definitely prefer the longer strap. And of course, because I'm tall, I have it on the longest possible setting for both of these bags, actually. But anyway, that's the first difference. The second difference is the length, or the width, I should say. No, the length. Yes, you can see there's another centimeter in length here. This one is a little wider, I think. This one doesn't have a solid base. It's more of a rounded effect. This is very slouchy. The métis leather is very slouchy. This is a stiffer, more structured bag, and I like both of them. That doesn't bother me. They're both small, that's fine. Here we can see that, yes, this is a quality craftsmanship here. You see this has that radiated button I was talking about, and I don't know if you can see very well, but right behind it, there's actually a little piece of leather going around to sort of make that less fragile, so the button won't wear a hole through the leather. And in this case, indeed, it's completely different. These two buttons actually look quite similar. Original PRYM 64B. This also says original PYRM 64B. Yeah, same. But this, it looks different. They don't look like the same quality. This looks better quality. And very similarly, the button here, I mean, it's a different model, so that it's a different size. Yeah, you can start to feel that this is very, very coated. This is not so coated. It's a little more very thin coating, if any coating at all. But this has a little more refinement to it. The one that I'm holding on my right side here, this feels a little, I don't know. I think they did a pretty good job on the fake one, assuming it's fake. And the stitching on this one is pretty impeccable. I went through the bag in detail. There's no problems on this bag. And the back of the leather on this one, it's lined with a thicker leather. This has got a thicker leather on it. This one is not. It's plastic. So one thing about the new model is it doesn't have a pocket anymore. And this pocket in the front, it's kind of useful. I usually put my commuter card in it. So that's gone now. So that's a negative about the model, not the fakeness. And I think I prefer the new model's front access. I usually wear this on the left side. So that means the opening is way back to my bottom. I would prefer it to be on this side. But if you wear it on the right side, then this is probably better. And on the inside, the lining for this one this is an older bag, so this is the old style. There are no pockets in here at all because we've got a little side pocket in the front, I guess. Now this one, let's see, this one, very different feeling to this. This actually says made in France, 1948. And this one also says made in France. You can see that the label looks different. It's got a thicker line. Let's show these side by side. Yeah, as I mentioned before, the one on my left here, the fake one, it's too close to the outside. This one gives enough white space on the side, and there's a thick strap at the bottom. So there you go, my lovelies. That is a comparison of the Le Pliage Xtra Crossbody little XS bag compared to the Le Pliage Cuir Crossbody. Which model do you like better? Do you like the new one, assuming the new one is real? And do you think my bag is fake? And what color should I dye this? I really look forward to your comments on this, and I look forward to sharing my process of conditioning and dyeing this bag. Look at this, you guys. It does say quite clearly, synthetic trimmed with cowhide leather. Yeah, come on, the real Longchamp is definitely all cowhide. Oh, I have one more thing to share with you, my lovelies. I finally received a candle that I bought a month ago. Beautifully packaged candle. I've mentioned this brand on my channel before. You can get them on Amazon, at least in Japan. I'm not sure about other Amazon stores, but the price is good for this. So, and I got this secondhand, so it's very good. So you take this out. It's gorgeous, this beautiful candle. It smells like breezy linen, and it does smell of linen, but it's a bit detergent, like I'll admit. It's not the best smell. Yeah, it's pretty harsh. But the bottle is lovely, and I've gone through all my candles, all those ones I've showed you in the last, I don't know, month or two, 3 months maybe. And I do burn them at work, and then what I do is these beautiful jars, I wash them and I fill them up with candies and sweets. They decorate my shelves. I've got a big office, and I use them to bribe or give incentive to my students and colleagues. They just look lovely, make my room smell lovely. So there you go. You know, I am the scent gourmand. I like smelly stuff, even in candle and incense form, although incense a bit smoky. Next video will probably be perfumey. Bye-bye.